Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pit Squad. Pit Squad, Pit Squad. I just had to throw it in there real quick. She doesn't like it, but we are going to work out the jingle, so we'll get back to you on that. Today, we have a very special collaboration with these two young gentlemen right here. You'll figure out who they are in just a moment.
Yes.
But today's topic is going to be about how men perceive women leaders and how they can empower women in a general sense. Of course, this channel is all about women empowering women, but men are a part of our lives, and an equal
part of empowerment.
Absolutely, and an equal part of our lives. So we're gonna get some awesome young men's perspective on how they can empower women and how you guys can empower women. If you guys are men out there, then you can watch this channel too. So the very first question is very broad. Do you guys believe that? I saw a statement somewhere on somebody's social media, not relevant, and it said men are born leaders and women are not. Do you guys agree with that, and why or why not?
Not at all. I don't agree with that.
Unpack that.
Unpack that. Okay, I gotta actually be deep. No. Okay, so no, I don't believe that because most of the women in my life, in my opinion, are born leaders. I've seen it since I was a kid at Living Word. You guys, the first time I saw you guys had like an aura to you guys, which was very like powerful.
I love that.
Yeah, but and your mother as well. Hers was like
Her aura.
real big. I was like, okay, wait, let me go ahead and respect.
Probably the aura you saw.
Let me go ahead and respect them. But yeah, I see it on a day-to-day basis. Women are leaders and natural leaders in like every way. So yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I don't know how you could even get to that point to think that, it's kind of like delusional to think that. So
yeah, it's extremely delusional in my opinion. I wouldn't it's not gender specific at all. I think in my opinion leaders are cultivated and leaders are always learning, and I think you can be born with certain qualities that may lead up to being a leader, but it's definitely not gender specific, and it's definitely never a process that ever stops.
Yeah.
And yeah, I totally disagree with that statement.
I think why someone that might have said that is
It was a
because-
man.
Of course it was.
A male.
Definitely, man.
And I think it probably was said that because they might have been talking about leadership positions. Like when you see leaders typically across the board, they're usually all men. And so I think it's what's represented. But not to say that women can't be leaders, because women are leaders. But I think when you look at, just like we were talking about in the other video on their channel, go check it out. When you don't have representation, you're like, that can't be. Like, how can a woman be a leader when there's no women leaders?
Right.
And sometimes what people perceive leadership as is dictatorship. And a lot of, not even just women, but men as well can be servant leaders. Like Martin Luther King was a servant leader. So I think there's different types of leadership, and that's just like a ignorant statement for him to say.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought so.
You said maybe go educate yourself.
Go.
So on that too, what do you guys think about, or I should say, why do you think black men typically tear down other black women?
Go ahead.
Attack!
Uh-oh.
I mean,
If you want to go first,
there's a lot there.
There's a lot
Do you
there.
want to? Do you have an immediate answer?
I think that in our culture as black men, just men in general, there is a culture of looking at women in a certain way that we're kind of like born to do, depending on what we look at on TV, our phones, or movies and stuff like that. And I think it's part of our culture. It's a negative part of our culture to tear down women, especially to our other friends, our homies, because it's like it's like a sense of like, oh, I'm cool. Like I'm top dog of this group because I get all these, like, you know what I'm saying.
Right.
So I think it's part of our culture. It's a negative part of our culture, but it's definitely there. So yeah, my close friends, I'm not drawn towards friends that do that. So my close friends have to respect women.
That's good.
Have to.
That's the minimum requirement.
That's,
Right?
you know what I'm saying? Like it's supposed to be that way, but
Yeah.
you kind of have to be conscious of who you're around, because that can rub off on you as well. That's another way of kind of like falling into that trap of thinking that women are below you.
Yep.
But you can go ahead and.
Great point.
I think, I think there's a general history of that. Like not only specific to black men, but I think black men, especially growing up around like black young men, and seeing where their motivation is when it comes to looking at women in general. And I say like go back to the foundation, because it's like I think it's rooted in like this thing we learn from maybe like TV, television, media, that any interaction you have with any woman, especially while young, is like has to be like a relationship interaction. It's like if I'm talking to you, it's only because like I want a relationship out of you or whatever else. And we don't see other young women, young black women, as like you're my friend, you're my partner, and like business. It's like I need you for other reasons besides that. And if that's like if we're not doing those things, then like we can't have a relationship. I think that goes for men in general, but I think growing up around black men, that's like something I always notice is like whenever you talk about a woman, it's like what you did with them, what you want to do, and it's not like what they're studying at school or like what are they interested in. It's like some other non-platonic stuff.
Right.
And tear it down. I think especially this past summer, I think there was an awakening, not just for like obviously like with the reaction to like the George Floyd murder, the Breonna Taylor murder, and then the Ahmaud Arbery murder. There was a lot of reaction to it over the summer, protests obviously, and I think there was an awakening for a lot of people, especially when it comes to like respecting black women and seeing their value. And it kind of is a divide between like growing up, like black men, a lot of times, like generally speaking, like the backbone like in the household is like the mother. And then it's like there's like something goes awry when it's like looking at black women and supporting black women. And maybe it's like what you see in media, how they're typically portrayed in movies. But yeah, I think we need to reconceptualize how we understand our relationships with women in general, and then reconceptualize how we understand our relationships with black women in general. So
yeah. I think to what you said too, like, so in the media, let's just discuss, I'm not gonna even sit on this because I could talk about this all day, WAP. That video, that song, along with other songs, contributes to the oversexualization of black women and why black women are seen, because if you look at movies, like you said, or anything else, typically it's a woman that has curves. It's a woman that is pretty. It's a woman, so it's like that black women are only good for looking nice, having curves, and doing something sexually for somebody. Right. And that's like ingrained in, I guess, people's minds. But I think it even goes back to like slavery days. Like the white women wanted to look like, I mean, they still want to look like black women, but but like they were breastfeeding their kids. They were, being this, and so I think that's where like the jealousy started and is rooted and is just amplified today.
Yeah, what I think is interesting too is that like when people see black women, I feel like they see hard, they see bitterness, they see these really negative, heavy connotations, which is interesting because when you think of like a leader, like some of those characteristics could be seen as a good leader if it were to be in a man.
Right.
Bitterness, no, but like the leadership, strong-willed, hard-headed, stubborn, all those things are a plus.
Right.
So why is it that in black women it's a negative? I feel like that's
a B.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. She needs to get laid. She needs to relax. All of these things.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's interesting. So on that, do you feel like women and men lead differently?
Yeah.
And if so, how and why?
I think it's possible.
That's
all I get. No, I think it's totally possible. Just due to there's certain specific experiences, it's possible that they can lead differently. For example, if a guy Let's say I was raised to just be like this, like, you know what I'm saying, type of guy, just really walk around like this, and then the
Chest
woman,
puffed out.
yeah, then the woman's taught to be the leader that's a little bit more compassionate and like, how can I hear you out? Then that, I could see that being the difference between men and women, but I think it's case to case. It depends on what they've been raised as and what they've gone through, stuff like that. So.
I agree.
I think it does depend, but I can speak generally to what I've noticed about women leaders and men leaders, and I mean it's exactly what you would expect. It's like men tend to want to be more dominant and think that leadership looks like dominating, like a dictatorship, and women tend to be more caring, be more understanding of the people that are under them. If you are like in a position of leadership, I think like coming out of my college experience, some of the best and most productive college presidents or like club presidents were women, and some of the most like stagnant clubs were run by men. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's due to, like you said, life experiences maybe. And that's not to say like it is 100% gender specific. I think men can lead with compassion and women
absolutely
can be dominant, but I think generally speaking, depending on experiences and stuff like that, I think they do tend to lead differently, and that's why I'm excited for Kamala Harris, because I think we've never had women in that kind of position. So
yeah, I'm excited to see how.
Because I think too, for women, like some of them might try to be more dominant because they're like, I gotta prove myself because you might not respect me as a leader because
I've seen
I'm
that
a
with
woman.
black leaders.
Yes. Yeah.
White, not so much. Any other ethnicity.
Well, no, some of them too, because they just feel like they're like on this, because now they're at this position that they're like, you need to like fall at my feet and like do whatever I say. But then you have other ones that are, I forgot the word I was gonna say. It must not have been important.
Yeah.
We're just gonna leave that.
Leave that where it is.
The idea just dropped, and I'm not sure where it is.
Hello, come back.
Yeah, if it comes back, I'll just randomly blurt it
I'm
out.
recording.
Okay. All right. That's the last question.
No, there's two more.
Oh yay.
No, that one. Oh no, there's two more. The other one last after the one I'm gonna say.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. So we'll do this in two parts. So you guys are male leaders. We're gonna call you that. What's one piece of advice that you would give to a woman leader?
I would say, which is kind of weird because, like I said, like I think that my top 10 like most favorite leaders, like 7 of them are black women. So like I feel kind of like I don't need to be giving them advice on anything. But,
and that's period.
Yeah, that's.
I'm just kidding.
I would say that to not feel intimidated in any space.
I was gonna say that.
I think, yeah.
That's good.
Because of like stereotypes that come with being a black woman, especially in corporate spaces, like you might guard certain parts of yourself. You might, like, even something as petty as like not going by the name like you were born with, like, because it doesn't sound corporate enough or whatever.
Right. That's a good.
I would say not to be as guarded, not to be guarded in any way, to be yourself, because if you are in that space, it's because you're supposed to be, not just because.
Yes.
Preach on it.
Yeah, I don't know. Just don't be guarded and don't be afraid to be you, because that's why you're there, and we need you in that space. We need you to be a black woman. So yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, as well as don't be afraid to kind of just be vocal. Don't be afraid to, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't let them shut you up. Because I know a lot of men in powerful positions try to, let me speak. You know what I mean? Like, let me speak first. Or
I'm speaking. I'm still
you know
speaking.
what I mean? Or like you stand behind me, I'll be in the front. Like, they want to see me first. Don't let that happen. Push yourself to the front, because that's really what you got to do these days. Like, you really got to like pride your way to the front, and don't let nobody stop your grind. Like, that's as well as everything he said. Yeah.
In addition to, of course.
So to sum it all up, how can we proactively empower women?
from a male's perspective. It was interesting too because I saw it was a couple years ago, and I'm sure they've had more recently, but it was a video on The View.
Mm-hmm.
You're always watching The View.
No, I'm not.
You are.
Well, not.
Anyway, I was watching The View.
About the real?
No, with Mari, Tia Mari.
The real, and I don't watch it anymore. But anyway, it's the real. Continue.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I know. Continue.
Okay. Anyway, that show, and they were talking about a women's empowerment conference, male perspective, and all of the speakers were male.
That would start some controversy.
Right, and it did. And the event eventually got canceled because of the social media backlash.
Yeah.
What do you guys, from that perspective, like, do you think, like, is it more of a collaborative effort? Obviously it is, but just to get you thinking, is it more of a collaborative effort, or should we just do just the male perspective and get, the women listening to how we can collaborate, or should it be a mix of both?
Dang, you just kind of said what
Right.
Yeah. I think that I could see where it's like, stay out of women's business. Let us like tell you what we need.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that perspective, but I also think that having maybe women in the audience like waiting to be like, okay, no, that's not it, or something like that,
Right.
while they're speaking.
Right.
But I do think that men should speak on it. Obviously not as much as women, because you guys know what you guys need.
Yeah.
to
But I think
feel
it starts with
empowered.
guys. Well, not starts with guys, but it's super important because, like, a lot of people look up to what men have to say.
Right.
And it's like, if men aren't going to empower, well, why should I?
Right. I agree.
I think it also starts with like not just creating awareness for ourselves, like individually, but also calling out like other men for stuff.
That's good.
And educating other men on that, because a lot of times, sad to say, but if a woman tries to come to a man who has toxic traits and tries to educate them on what they need to be doing, he's gonna be like, either she's like, might call her jaded or whatever,
Right.
or might call
Exactly.
her whatever, like, you're trying to talk down to me, whatever.
Yeah.
If it's coming from your best friend, it's coming from a guy or man or your dad, your cousin who you respect, and they're calling you out on that stuff, I think a man is more likely to listen. And that shouldn't be the case, but I think that is a lot of times. But again, it is like a collaborative effort, and yeah, I think that's it.
So collaborative.
I think so.
I have a question for you guys though.
Oh, look at you.
So it's kind of along those same lines, but reversed. What do you guys think black men can do to empower black women more?
I think honestly it starts with a bunch of stop doing certain things. So stop, what's the word I'm looking for? Stop patronizing or
That's a good word.
viewing or allowing disruptive behavior of black women. So when I say that, what I'm saying is, when we're watching video games or we're playing video games or watching movies, the movies that have women being hypersexualized, stop supporting them. But that's also not only for men, that's for women too.
Yes.
And the same thing for, like you said, like calling people out. So a lot of people won't have the boldness to do that because they want so badly to be validated by their friends. So it's like, no, if he's not gonna do it, I'm not gonna do it. So I think that's something that what you said is like spot on. I also think that men have to create space for women to, if we're talking about leadership, to lead. So if they're at a position of, let's say if it's a company and they're a president, allowing opportunity for maybe a woman to be a vice president or raised to a higher ranking, because a lot of times, even if you're looking from like a hiring standpoint, they'll throw applications because they're a woman. It's a woman's name. I'm not hiring you. And don't let it be a black woman's name.
God forbid.
God forbid.
Right.
Let it be a black, and like to what you said, like sometimes too for black women, like on certain applications, I've taken out my full name. I just put N. Pittman because my name tells you already that I'm black.
Yeah.
So I just put N. Pittman. And I actually did that as a test to see if I would get called back. And it actually worked anyway.
Wow.
That's neither here nor there. But I think those are just like some of the starting points that could happen. I don't know, like a fix-all solution. I think it's going to have to be a radical change and shift.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it also starts with the head of the household, the father.
Okay.
And sometimes men, they've grown up and they might not have had certain things. They've been exposed to things too early that they want to contribute to the hypersexualization of women, or they want to. It's okay for them to see women as less than them, but I'm not sure how to change that. So I don't know.
It's a God thing.
Yeah.
I think another way too, and it's kind of just flipping the roles. I feel like men should try to put themselves in women's shoes. Like,
They don't.
How you
Men
wanna
aren't
be treated.
as analytical.
I know,
as
but I'm
women.
gonna get there.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna unpack it.
You're gonna unpack it. Okay, unpack it.
So I feel like it's just as simple as when women have to put on this like hard shell to guard themselves from being hurt, from being in the, corporate America or wherever they are leading. I feel like men need, and this is probably easier said than done, I'm sure, take down those walls and be soft towards women. It's a vulnerable thing to do, yes, but at the end of the day, I think men need to sympathize. I don't want to say sympathize, but men need to understand. Empathize is a better word. How much of a role they play. I mean, think about it. Would you be here if it wasn't for a woman? Let's just sit on that.
Yeah, seriously.
Sit
Biologically,
on that.
no.
Would you be here?
Right.
So just taking into account, I think men are just gonna have to be softer, and I think men are gonna also have to take a role, and not in the back seat, but on the passenger side. Let a woman lead.
That's
So
good.
if you see a man and you see a woman, they could be both awesome candidates. Specifically, choose the woman.
Yeah.
Give
Intentional.
her the opportunity.
But I think to what you said, like allowing guys to be soft, when they're raised, they're not raised. They're like, when they cry, stop. You're a boy, don't cry.
Right.
Or like, man up. They
Right.
can't express emotion from an early age.
Right.
It's been brainwashed into them
Right.
to not express emotion. So it might be even, that's like a whole nother thing, like difficult for them to
Go to counseling. There is such a thing. They are taking a Zoom called counseling. Work through that.
Yeah.
Be softer.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I think not every parent
No, I
obviously
get
is
it,
like
though.
that. But
Absolutely.
I think that's like something that, as if you're looking to parent, I'm not telling anybody how to parent, but not telling your kids grow up, stop crying. No, let them. That's an emotion. Everybody has those emotions and should cry.
Right.
Like, girls are not the only ones that can be crying all the time and be emotional and show like that they're feeling. That's a human trait.
Right.
I think it is like extremely radical. Like, this is like these like norms are so ingrained in like the basis of society for so long. Like, it is radical, and it's not supposed to be comfortable for men.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's the fact that like men are becoming uncomfortable, or like when you put pressure on them, they're becoming uncomfortable. I think that's a sign something's working.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not supposed to be comfortable. I think that's the thing. We can like, we want to be like, men want to be like acquiesced, like like let's be nice, let's like I don't know, you have to like, don't be so aggressive, don't be so like strong, like let's like talk about how this, but like no, it has to be like intentional and radical, in my opinion. But
Yeah,
I agree.
if we want to see a change, I don't know, we could keep having conversations about like we should like acquiesce to this place, but like it has to be radical.
Yeah, I agree.
Without question.
Awesome.
We don't have to go up? Okay, that's all I have, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining.
Alrighty.
Of course, subscribe to our channel. We would love to have you as a part of the squad, and subscribe to their channel. We're gonna
Introduce them. Introduce
Oh my
yourself,
God.
gentlemen. I don't even know how we started the video with that.
Jeremy, you're the one who introed it. I'm not sure how you missed it.
I was so
Okay,
excited. Get
okay.
into the details.
Got it.
Who do we have here?
I'm Jonathan Simmons, aka Wave Don.
And I'm Josh.
Awesome.
I don't have another.
You don't have a
nickname yet?
nickname? It's
No,
like
I have
my
one,
it's
but
like
it's
my
like-
art name, so yeah. But yeah, I go to Columbia College Chicago. I'm like the creative director of Wave World, kind of, and kind of like a captain of our channel and the brand in general.
What's your channel?
My channel is our channel. Woo, us.
Mine.
He said mine. He's doing a youth.
I look, we have one on the side. No, it's Wave World. Wave World. That's it. Just WW Wave World. But
Awesome. Okay, now you can close this out.
I already did.
No, you didn't. subscribe,
Edit.
like.
Oh my
Subscribe
God,
to
like
their
this,
channel.
So thank you so
Goodbye.
much for watching. Don't forget to, of course, subscribe to our channel to join our squad. Subscribe to their channel and support
Yes.
them. And we will see you at the next video.
All right, see you guys.
Bye. Ooh, I'm
That's lit.
excited.